Hello everyone, thank you for joining this session. This is Naveen. Today we are going to learn about control flow. What is the difference between if condition and your uh, flow decision? Okay, so we'll go for these things. We'll go for try to understand what is flow decision and what is your if condition. Okay, so the difference is here. You can see here the activity if and flow decision, but both all activity it's not possible to keep inside the sequence. I can show you right now. So let's go inside this UI part. So first of all, we'll create the today folder in this project. So today is your 30th of September. We'll go for folder. Okay. So here first I'm going to create the workflow sequence. So we'll go for even odd program. Okay. So we're going to see the things even odd program. So first, we'll try to understand the sequence. Sequence is a type of workflow, especially for a small project, especially for linear process. And their limitation is this room is very small. And second problem, we have two activity. The name is called flow decision. The first thing flow decision, and second activity that is called flow switch. Okay. So flow switch we cannot take in this sequence. You can see here it's not allowing me to keep inside this sequence. In that situation, what we'll do? Okay. So especially one by one we'll discuss flow decision activity we have available. Okay. So flow switch it's not possible to take. So instead of taking flow switch, we have an activity called we can take the switch. Okay. So you are able to take the switch activity in your sequence. Okay. Second thing, if you're talking about the flow decision, so flow decision also we are not able to take this flow decision. So instead of flow decision, we can take the condition. We can take the activity called if condition. Work is almost same. So in sequence, we can take the if condition. Okay. Apart from that, if you want to take the flow decision, especially for leap year program, so even or program, so especially for your flow decision, if you are not able to take the flow decision, so in that case what we can do in sequence. Okay, so sequence is types of workflow and flow chart is also type of workflow. Okay, so we can take another flow chart. Okay, so we can take the flow chart inside your sequence and we can take your all activity inside your flow chart. Okay, so right now inside the sequence, if you take any sequence, that is called nested sequence, and here in sequence we can take the flow chart also. Okay, so if you go for interview, they can ask you, can we take any flow chart inside the sequence? Yes, we are able to take the any flow chart in sequence. If you double click, and here we are able to take all type of activity, flow decision, flow switch, all activity we can take, every activity, also flowchart also you're able to take. Okay, so inside the sequence flowchart we can take, inside the flowchart sequence flowchart, each and everything we are able to take, each and every activity we are able to take. But directly if you ask me in sequence, directly in sequence, flow decision and flow switch not possible. Okay, instead of that we have a activity called if condition. Okay, so let me go here. So here if you can see here the name is called even odd program. Okay, the name is, it's very clear, even odd program, and this is the error you can see here. So this is the error we are getting, the parent error, and this is the we are getting for this activity. Okay, so required we have not provided any type of variable here, and this is the variables panel. Okay, so variables, if you don't have any activity you are not able to create any variable, but if you have any type of activity you are able to create the variable. Okay, so here we have to judge like that, if I'm going to pass any number, the number is even or odd. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll go for create the number. So number we can take here integer, so variable type. Okay, so come to this point, this is the variable type and this is the thing called scope. If you ask me what is scope, we'll discuss in flowchart also. Scope is especially for public and private, your body. Okay, so here the name is, it's very clear, even or program. Okay, inside that, inside even or program, directly we're getting this as a global scope. Okay, if you take any activity means, suppose that here I'm going to take open application. Okay, come to the point. So after this if condition, if I'm going to take this open application, and in open application we are getting the do. Okay, so inside one activity we have a second body that is called do, and if I will create any type of variable like that, I can show you. So if I'm going to take this one message box, and if I keep inside the do, and here if I'm going to create any variable like the j, so if you come to variables panel, check the scope right now I'm getting do. Why do? Because this variable is private. This variable is private, especially for open application. Especially we have created this variable especially for do. So this is the private for the do. If you come outside, try to understand. Okay, so there are two type of scope. Either you can go for global scope, public scope, or I can go for the private scope right now. Okay, so if you come here, if you click on this if condition, we are not getting that variable, because that variable that was accessible up to that scope, that body. Okay, so that body means up to do it's valid. Okay, so whenever you take open browser, open application, so if you are getting any type of do body, so there if you are going to create any type of variable, by default you'll get the scope as a do. Okay, the first thing. Second thing, suppose that here I've created this variable and I want to use like that in open browser, open application in different activity. Okay, directly I can say different activity. Okay, right now my scope is 2. If I will click here, we are not getting that scope. But try to understand, if you want to access from different activity, then what to do? I will do as a public. Okay, I will do as a public. So definitely interviewer can ask you the question. Suppose you want to do the public, so how you can select the name of your scope, because multiple scope here will get look. Okay, so again I will tell you in flow decision part in flowchart, but try to understand scope always. If you want to do as a global, always check the name of your workflow. My workflow name is event or program, so that's why I will do a main, and that I will do as a global. Okay, so till if you we have kept do, and if you click anywhere here, we are not getting, but directly when you click on do, automatically we'll get the scope as a do. And when we do as a global event or program, automatically in whole workflow we'll get our variable, because we have done the global variable. Okay, so we have done the global scope, and everywhere we are able to access. Okay, so scope especially used for the activity. So inside your activity, if you've taken this the same like that body, it will come as a private. If you want to use as a global, so you have to give the name of your workflow. Okay, so this is called scope. In every activity you'll get the scope. In every activity, your name of activity, variable type, scope, and default value. Okay, so default value where we can pass the data. Okay, so right now I want to create this part like that number. So number I can pass like that 4. Okay, so we have passed the number called 4. Okay, so there we'll try to check like that the number we are getting, whatever the number we have provided, that is even or odd. Okay, so here I can pass the condition. The condition is called your number mode. Okay, so we'll try to divide through your 2 equal to 0. Okay, so like this way we can pass number mode 2 equal to 0. Okay, we are going to divide, and if we are getting the 0, if you're going to divide with 2, and if you're going to getting the remainder 0, then we'll go for this condition. There are two conditions, then and else. Okay, so if condition satisfy, it will go to the then, otherwise it will go to the else. Okay, so right now whatever this value we can see at the 4, this is static value. So right now I'm going with static, but we can change this data also through input dialog box. Okay, so let me show you this part. So here I'm going to take this message box, the first message box, and second for the else. Okay, try to understand the one thing here. Only for your knowledge purpose, I'm taking this message box. Instead of message box, depend on your industrial use case, you can take any activity, open browser, open application, database automation, email automation. So depend on requirement you can take, but especially for your sample, I am taking this message box. So here I can pass number is even. Okay, so this number is even, and here also I can pass number is odd. Okay, so right now we have passed this even number, so that's why we'll get the even number. Let me go here. Let me run this program and let me check. So we are getting the number is even, but try to understand if I will change this variable 4 to 5. So there we'll get the reminder of 1, and there we'll get the things called one reminder. So that's why it will it will it will display this is odd number. Okay, we are getting the odd number. Okay, again here we have done these things. I want to do this dynamic only for your understanding. So whatever is variable we are getting static, we'll try to take this data from different input dialog box. Okay, so that's why here we'll go and we'll click on this plus sign, we'll go for input dialog box, simple drag and drop, and here we're getting this dialog title and we're getting the label and we're getting this text box. So here we'll try to insert, so I can pass here, we can pass this, please provide input. Okay, so right now what we'll do, we'll try to store your variable into this number. Okay, this output. Okay, so already we have a variable called number. Directly we are not going to create, because whenever you create the new variable, it will, you have to provide that into condition. So we have a variable called number, so that's why I will take this number. Okay, so let me run this program and let me check this data how it's working. So here you have to understand the things, whatever the variable we have created that number, it will try to override the data. Okay, let me show you. So right now I'm passing this 7. So if I'm getting this parts, number is odd. Okay, if I'm going to pass these things, 6, what we'll do, we'll get the number is even. Okay, it's working fine. Okay, so according to your data, we can either get even, either we can get the number is odd. Okay, same thing, client say right now it's fine. Okay, but whatever the number you are getting from their input dialog box, you have to also display through your message box. Okay, so through both message box we have to display the data. So that's why try to understand here, this is the hard coded. Okay, this is the hard coded, this will not change. Try to understand, this will not change, but whatever the variable if you're going to use, maybe that variable will change, because the data we are getting from in any another user. So user can provide any another data. Okay, control space, and here I'm going to use this number to string, and here the number whatever I'm getting from user, the same thing here I can pass number dot to string and plus. Okay, one second. So here we have passed this number dot to string. Okay, so if I'm getting the number 7, it will display 7, number, sorry, 8, number is even. Okay, and here if you pass the same thing, number dot to string, number is odd. Okay, so we can pass here number is odd. Okay, so let me show you these things, and here always try to check this space. So after double quote we can pass like this way, like your space, and we can go for that, save and run this program. Okay, so please provide your number. Suppose that here I'm giving this 8 number, or I can say any number, 6 I can provide here. So we'll get the 6, number is even, we are getting the proper data. So right now my variable also working and my hard coded is also working. The difference is hard coded is right now it's not going to change, but whatever the variable I have provided, that it's going to change, because the data I'm getting from input dialog box, and that number, any number I can pass through input dialog box. Let me check again. We can pass here 101. So if you come here, we can get the 101 is your odd number. Okay, so like this way we can do through if condition. The same thing we'll try to do through your flow decision. I can show you right now. So we'll go to project, and he's here inside this 30 September. I'll go for add and go for flowchart. Okay, so okay, so again I'll tell you this scope part. So try to understand these things. Here I want to create the multiple things, like that. I want to create one program through sequence. Okay, so whatever the program we have done through even odd here through sequence, everything also inside the flowchart, directly we can take the sequence and we can do the things. Okay, but try to understand, if I'm going to change, if I'm going to work on the sequence part even odd, so scope will change. Okay, let me show you. So scope directly will come with the name of sequence even odd. Let me show you. Okay, so here if I'll take this any active any variable, let me show you, create variable, and here if I pass number. Okay, so why I'm getting this sequence even out, because this is my private scope. Okay, this is my private scope. You can see here we are getting only this scope sequence even out. Okay, but if you come outside, so this variable is only valid till sequence. Okay, but if you click on this workflow, whole workflow, it will vanish. Okay, so you can see here it's disappear, it's not available right now. Okay, means scope is especially for your like the proper one sequence, proper one activity, and there it's working fine. Okay, so if you want to do as a global, you can see here flowchart even sorry, so this is my global scope. Try to understand the one thing here. Right now I'm in my global area, means your full area. So here I'm getting this flowchart even odd, but if I will select my this sequence flowchart, and here if I'll create the variable to variable through, you will get the sequence even odd. Okay, again if I will take the sequence again, and if you drag and drop, and here if you are going to create any type of variable, what will happen, it will give the name as a sequence. You can see here sequence. Okay, so suppose that if you create the 10 sequence, I can say 100 sequence, and if you rename like that any type of name like that 1 2 3 4, so according to your sequence automatically you will get the all the name from scope. Okay, so that is your private scope. And if you want to do as a global, try to understand these things, right? Variable one, and here I can take one another sequence, and here I can give the name as a Paytm. Okay, so whatever the name you will give your sequence, automatically you are able to create this Paytm. Okay, right now I want to change this part from Paytm to global. What I can do, I can change as a name. So how we can we can check the name. Always check the your workflow name. Okay, whatever the main workflow, or if you want to do a global, always check for your main global, that is called flowchart even all will go for that. Okay, and we can run this one. Okay, so like this is your called variables your scope. Okay, scope, or if you keep global, we are able to access from your all everywhere from your workflow. If you do as a private, so private it will work only till your activity or till your work. Okay, so this is the called your scope. Okay, the same thing we'll try to automate here, like that your uh, even odd number. So here we'll try to automate through your flow decision. So flow decision is the activity. It's only possible inside your flowchart. It's not possible to provide in your sequence. Okay, and here we are getting the two node, true and false. You can see here. Okay, so whatever these things like that, you can see here the flow decision. This is the name of your flow decision, and we are getting the true false, and everything it's possible to change. If you come right side, this is called properties panel, and we are getting the first thing called condition, display name, and your true and false. Okay, I want to take the number as even, I can pass even here, so it can, so right now even. Okay, and instead of false, I can pass this things as a odd, so we can pass this odd part. So like that you can see here odd. One second. Okay. So we are getting this odd, like the flow decision we have even or odd. Okay. So here we'll pass the condition same like that we have passed in your sequence. Okay. So everything it's possible to change. Flow decision we can pass these things even, even, odd, or so we can take this even odd or okay. So condition, in condition, whatever condition you want to write, you are able to write. So here I can pass this variable. So right now I'll change this name as a number. So you can take variable one also, but I can give you the proper name like that number. And here we can go for these things as an integer, and default value I'm going to pass 8. Okay. So right now this is the static things we are doing right now, and here we'll pass this variables like that number, mode equal to 0. Okay. So right now we're not getting this error. So this is the start, and start is not like that fixed. You can keep anywhere, you can keep left, right, anywhere. Okay. So right now I want to take the message box. So message box for your event program, and open browser we can take for your art. Okay. So anything you can take, not necessarily like it message box, open application, open browser, you can take anywhere, any activity. Simple drag and drop this part and connect with like this way. So here we'll go for message box, and here I can pass this is even number. Okay. And open browser I want to pass my Google website, so I can pass the double quote and https www.google.co.in. So will if you run this program, what will happen? So if you're going to pass this even number like the we provided the 8, so we'll get the this number is even number. Okay, this is even number, and if we'll try to change this number like that anything's 3 odd number, so automatically it will 43, sorry, so it will try to launch this browser. Okay, so it will try to launch the browser on your Internet Explorer and try to launch the Google. Okay, so it's working fine right now. Okay, so we are able to open this part. Okay. Again, if you want to go for input dialog box, the same thing we'll try to do here. So here let me show you. So this is your even and this is your odd. Okay, let me come here. So instead of this, we'll first pass this input dialog box here. So input dialog box you can pass here, and we can connect with like this way. Okay. So if you passing all things, if you are not going to pass this data like that label and title, it's not a like that. It will not create any problem. That is the cosmetic part. And here, if you are going to pass this variable, we can pass this number. So cosmetic part also will pass. Dialog title will pass this guessing game. And we can pass, please provide guess number. Okay, we can pass anything, and let me run this program. So I can pass 100, whatever the number you want to pass, I can pass 100, and we are getting this even number. Okay, so right now whatever the number I have passed through input dialog box, I also want to display through message box. So then what we'll do, we'll come here and we'll try to pass the control space and we'll pass the number dot to string and plus. Okay, so like this way we'll go for passing this data. So whatever the number you get there, automatically we are able to get here. Okay, so always check this part whenever you're going to pass any type of variable. Always check after that we have a space, yes or no. Okay, so if you ask me what is the way to provide the space, either we can directly pass in double quote space, but try to understand here, if you pass the double quote, you're able to provide the space. But try to understand tomorrow if you're going to use any type of variable like that, here I want to pass data. Okay, let me understand these things. Okay, data, and here I can pass, this is, I can pass the simple things, number is even. Okay, number is even. So right now I don't want to pass through your double quote, everything I want to pass through your variable. Okay, so directly I can pass here, I can pass this data. What will happen? Data I can pass control space, I can pass the data. If you run this program, what will happen? You will not get the space. Okay, so how to provide the space, I will tell you. So right now please provide your input. I can say 8. So if you are going to provide this 8, we can get then 8 number is even. Okay, so 8 is also variable and number is also variable, but there we have not provided any type of space. So especially for space, what you can do here, we can pass the double quote. Okay, simple double quote, and again we have to pass the plus operator. Okay, plus and double. Okay, so here also if you do, you'll not get space, you have to provide like this way. Okay, so whatever the space you want, you can pass like it, and you can pass the double quote. Okay, sorry, equal to. Okay, so you can pass number dot to string 8 equal to, this is even number, and whatever you can say it. Okay, let me go here and let me run this program. So right now we're getting this, please provide number. I can say 8 again. 8 equal to number is even. Okay, so right now my all things, it's working fine. And so right now any number you can pass, 800, 500, okay, 700 I can say. Okay, so if you pass this number, we'll get the 700 equal to number is even. Okay, so like this way we can go for automation like that, you even or program, and we can pass the data according to your requirement. Okay, right now I'll show you about this number things. Let me go here, variables, and how we can count this number. So here I'll go for these things, I'll go for add, we'll go for flowchart, we'll try to understand. So suppose that here we'll go for variable. Okay, if you create any type of variable, okay, so try to understand these things. I will connect with message box. I want to display any number, I can directly pass. So okay, so without variable we can pass the data like that, hi, hello, anything you can pass here, hello UiPath. Okay, okay, so there your variable is not required at all. So directly through hard coded you are able to pass this hello UiPath. Okay, so try to understand, this is your double quote, you definitely will get the hello UiPath, it's working fine. Okay, but if you want to create through variable, definitely you have to delete this part and you have to pass the variable. Okay, so if you come here in variables panel, you can see here the create variable, and according to your scope, automatically you'll get the basic program and default value. Okay, suppose in variable 1 I pass these things in double quote and space. So why I'm giving this example, because if right now you are able to understand like that we have given this space, but sometimes if you go for Excel part, they're in column and they're in cell, so there you get like this type of space and you are not able to understand, because we will lots of cell, we have lots of column, lots of row. Okay, so there sometimes we get this type of space. Right now I can show you. So I can pass UI path. Okay, so if you come here and if you display this variable in message box, variable one, we are getting this space. Right now you can see we're getting this space. Okay, let me show you another things also. If you're going to count this part, okay, so right now we're getting the 52. Okay, so it's variable dot count means it's going to count your character. Right now we're getting the 52. Okay, the problem is here, you can see here we're getting the space. I want to delete your all space. So if you're going to use this Excel sheet, so there if you are not going to provide the proper data into proper one text box, so there it will not work fine. Okay, so what will you use here? We'll try to we'll try to trim your variable. Okay, so here I can use, so instead of passing these things directly, what I'll do, I'll go inside this message box and here I'll try to go for variable dot trim. Variable dot trim is specifically for trimming your things. Okay, save and run this program. So it will try to trim. Okay, it will try to trim your whole whatever like that, like your left side, right side, everything to trim. Okay, so if you go for trim is specifically for removing your space. Okay, whatever the space in start space or end state, you're able to remove. Okay, but if you come here in trim, they provide three things: trim, start, trim, end. Okay, so start like that, where whatever is space in your starting part, it will try to trim, and after that we'll go for the trim end. Okay, so if you're going to use this trim will try to remove all the space from there. Okay, let me save and let me run this program. So we are getting this UI path, we are getting like this way. Okay, so here we are getting this part, so trim it's working fine. And this for the counting these things, variable dot count, especially it can count your data. Okay, right now I'm going to remove this part. We'll see that already this part. So right now we are getting this part as a this space. Okay, it's working fine. Again, if you come to variables panel, we are getting this UI path and this is in small letter. Okay, suppose that we have a small letter and I want to convert this part into capital letter. Okay, try to understand. Okay, here the requirement is I am getting some data from like your email in small letter, and the data I have to pass into any another website, and there I have to pass in capital letter, not in small letter. Okay, so there what we'll do, we'll try to pass conversion. Okay, so we'll convert the data, so we'll convert into dot to upper. Okay, so we'll go here in message box and here we'll try to go for variable dot to upper. Okay, that's very simple things, only to understand what type function you to use. Dot to upper for converting into capital letter, and do dot to lower for your, what I can say, for your converting these things into small letter. Okay, again we have passed variable dot to upper. What will happen? Again it will show the space, because in this second message box we have not like the demo of your space. You're getting this UI path, it's working fine. But if you go for second, we are getting this space. Why? Because we have not used the trim function. Okay, so that's why you use the trim. So then it will work fine, it will come as like this, that way. Okay, so again if you go for any capital letter and if you want to convert into small letter, right now we'll try to go for, Okay, so thank you for joining the session.